Today for reading, it's going to be primarily a partner read day. It is going to be primarily a partner read day for reading. And we will start off doing whole group to kind of get the idea of what we're doing. And then we're going to split up and do partner read. Today we are going to build on what we were reading about Friday. So Friday we were reading about birds. And today we're going to build on it with our section called wings and feathers. So we're going to be reading about mostly those characteristics of birds. So it's kind of that part 2, wings and feathers. So learning about the birds section of our reading. I do not have our vocabulary today because it's from our reader. I'm not doing a read aloud, and that's when I typically do the vocabulary. But I want to go over some words with you. Sound good? If you've heard the word, I want you to put your hand up. The first word is the word flock. Have you heard the word flock before? Typically, the word flock is going to be describe a group of birds. That's what we call a group of birds is a flock. What is a group of birds? Flock. So if you see a group of birds flying above, you might say, hey, there's a flock of birds. Very good. Another one is going to be feathers. Do we all know what feathers are? Yes. Feathers are covering birds. That's one of the characteristics that's unique to birds is all birds have feathers. Feathers are going to be that soft covering that's on a bird's skin. We know that feathers are part of a bird's what is that fabulous word we did last week that helped keep it warm. I know you know it, Joey. Insulation. Feathers are going to be a bird's insulation. Great job. Another word I want to go over with you guys today is plumage. And my friends over here were experts with plumage last week. Plumage is what? It's another word for its feathers. That's all it is. The plumage are the feathers. It's birds' feathers. So birds are covered in plumage would be the same as saying birds are covered in feathers. Another word that, push your chair into your desk, is the word nectar. Have you ever heard the word nectar before? Good. Nectar is going to be a very sweet liquid, and it's going to come from flowers. Nectar. Why might nectar be important? Charlie.
It's like the flower's blood.
That's a good way to put it, right? It's those sweet juices inside that flower, the sweet liquids. Why would it be important to our reading about birds, though? Kyler.
Because hummingbirds drink nectar.
That's a great one. So that's one example we even learned about on Friday is those hummingbirds. That's what it drinks. And we might hear about some other birds as well. Birds are unique in the aspect that, well, I guess that's not unique. It's like most animals. Some are carnivores. Some are going to be herbivores. Some are going to be omnivores. So some eat meat. Some eat only plants. Some eat a mixture of both. And we know that one example of the main nutrient source for hummingbirds is going to be that nectar. And next is the word attract. Have you guys heard that word?
Yeah.
Perfect. Attract is going to be a word we go over today, but attract is actually going to be a science word later too, which is great. It just means to draw in or pull towards something. So if something's attracted to something else, it draws it in or pulls it in. Bees are attracted to flowers or to nectar. And there's going to be certain birds that are attracted to carnage. So they're going to be attracted to dead animals. Right? Very interesting. Today, we are going to do our read aloud. But before we get into it too much, I want us to all open up our notebooks to page. Let me get to it. We should still have it in there. To our bird web from last week. So everybody open up to page 103 and let's take a look at our bird web from last week. What are some things you guys wrote down about birds that you put on your bird web? I don't have my bird web done, so I need to get it filled out. You guys help me. Joey, what are some things that we know about birds that we talked about last week? Feathers. Very good. That was something we had. So if you don't have it, you're welcome to add it as we go. Feathers. Claire. Say that again really loud and proud. Why did birds have hollow bones? They have hollow bones. Why? Zena, why was that an important feature of birds? What do birds do that we can't do, Zena?
Fly.
They fly. It helps them fly. If they had hard, heavy bones like you and I did, it would be a lot more difficult task. It would take a lot more effort. Grayson, what else do we know?
They have a beak.
A beak. Very good. Cooper?
They're carnivores. Well,
No, we just talked about this. I love that you're using that vocabulary, the carnivores, omnivores, herbivores. But one thing about birds is they could be all three. Depending on the type of bird, they could be anything. Because we know, is a hummingbird going to go eat dead meat?
No.
Hummingbirds are these little tiny things, but what might eat dead animals or animals in general?
A normal bird because they eat worms.
Not normal birds. Like a specific animal that might eat, or a specific bird that would eat a dead bird, a dead animal.
Ostrich.
I don't know if ostrich do. I don't know if they would eat meat. Yep. What is that really big one we learned last week?
Eagle.
Eagles. They're going to be eating, they hunt for fish, they hunt for rodents, they'll eat. Eagles don't necessarily eat dead animals, but I did see 5 eagles one time eating a dead deer on the side of the road. Weirdest thing. I don't know why I didn't stop and take a picture. I totally could have. It was here in Waverly. So weird. It was, I couldn't even tell you. It was on the way somewhere. Brock.
They're warm-blooded.
Good. They're warm-blooded. I had to think about that one for a second. They're warm-blooded. Good. Yep.
They all have wings.
Wings. We talked about that's another thing that's unique to all birds is they all have wings, right? Do they all use them for the same purpose?
No.
Penguins don't fly. Instead, they use their wings more as
Swimmer.
the flippers to help them swim. Good. Casey, what else do we know? Air cavities in those hollow bones, right? I'm going to put that down by hollow bones, but that is an excellent one. Ryder. Feathers. That's our first thing we said. Great. Charlie.
They have talons.
They have talons or different types of claws, right? I love it. And they all have different purposes for those. Remember the talon cards we looked at?
Yeah.
Some of them were going to be really small and it helped him hang onto a tree. Some of them had really sharp claws to help him grab meat. Griffin, what else do we know about all of them?
They're layers.
That is a fabulous one. I remember in our reading on Friday, it said that that's something really unique about only birds. Every single bird lays eggs. They said there are exceptions in all the other animal groups, that most reptiles are going to lay eggs, but there are the exceptions. Most amphibians are going to lay eggs, but there are a few exceptions. All birds lay eggs. And we'll get into a little bit, but even mammals have a weirdness. We say that what makes you a mammal is giving live birth. One of the things that makes you a mammal is giving live birth. But I hope maybe we'll come across it here. If not, we will in science. There's exceptions to that as well. And we'll read about it, but we've got the platypus and the echidna. They're both going to be mammals that actually lay eggs. So something a little bit different, and we'll learn about why they still group them with mammal, but it's unique to birds that they are, no matter what, laying eggs. If they don't lay eggs, they call them something else, I guess. Yes.
Isn't a bat a mammal, but it's the only mammal that can fly? I think it is.
I can't confirm that. I do know a bat is a mammal, but I don't know if it's the only mammal that can fly. Maybe we can look into that more because I love that. Hopefully we can get on that website and do some more animal research as we start to wrap up this unit a little bit. I don't know. I don't remember it, but you could be right. Okay, we are going to move on with our reading, but today for our reading, we are going to be using a page from our book. So as we get ready to move on, I want you guys to open up to page 109. What page? And we're going to be looking at text features. As we get set for our next section, I want you to turn and have a quick discussion with your neighbor about the 8 different text features. See if you can name the 8 text features we've been discussing as we set up and get ready to go into our next piece.